Hello! Feels like it's been forever since we've seen each other. Just kidding. It's been only a minute, right? All right, so we're continuing with the notes today. This should be page 6 of the notes now. And now we're going to take all of it, we're going to put it all together. We're going to take the A, B, and C values. We're going to find the axis of symmetry from this. We're going to find the vertex from this. We're going to find the y-intercept from this. We're going to determine if that vertex is a maximum or a minimum. We're going to create a table, and we're going to go ahead and create the graph. And I will show you the graph and everything so we can see it visually on Desmos, okay? So let's get started. Make sure you have Desmos open too so you can play around with it. If you take a look at number 3 here, what we're looking at is the A, B, and C value. Again, we got pulled that information directly from it. My A value in here is a -2. My B value, is a -16. And my C value is a -30, okay? The axis of symmetry, also known as the AOS, is x equals opposite of B divided by 2 times A, which means we have the opposite. Now, this is the first time we had it in these notes where our B value is a negative. Opposite of -16 is a +16, and then 2 times A, which is -2, means that my axis of axis of symmetry is x is going to equal to a -4. My axis of symmetry and vertex should have the same x values, so it's going to be -4 over here. Let's find that y value there. Again, we're going to take that x value and we're going to plug it in for each of the x's here, and we're going to see what we get for y. So that means we get y is equal to a -2 times -4 squared minus 16 times -4 minus 30. It's really important that when you're doing substitution and you have negatives, remember that you always want to use parentheses just so that that square, especially in this case, so that that square gets applied to the negative that's taking place there. Okay. Throw this in our calculator, simplify. We end up with a +2 for the y value. So your vertex is at -4, +2. Now let's put that into our actual table here. Let's put our vertex right in the middle. And then remember from our last videos that we're going to find values that are just to the left and just to the right from our actual vertex. So if I go just to the left, we're going to move to -5 and -6. And then just to the right will take me in -3 and -2. Now we have a new value located in the bottom of this. That point right there, we're going to call our y-intercept. Okay, it's just another data point that we can use for making our graph. So when we substitute in, we only have to do this twice. Remember that there's supposed to be symmetry between the -6 and the -2 here, between the top and the bottom. And then there's going to be another symmetry between this one and this one. Okay, so we only have to do 2 calculations. Let's find when x is equal to -2 first. So we're going to go y is equal to -2 times -2 squared minus 16 times -2 minus 30. And again, that's just taking the -2, just like we did with the vertex, and we're taking the -2 and putting it in for my x here and for the x right here. Okay? Put that in your calculator. We're going to get a -6 for our value, and that means we should have a -6 up here. We'll do it again. We're going to do for -3 now. So we're going to take this -3, and we're going to put it in for x here. We're going to put it in for x here. So that means we're going to have y is equal to -2 times -3 squared minus 16 times -3 minus 30. Okay. Put that in our calculators, and we should get an answer of 0 here, which means that we're also going to have a 0 here because of the symmetry there. So we've got 5 data points that we can use for making this graph. Now let's get one more. Remember we talked about in the last video that the y-intercept is just the constant that's in this problem. Remember that if I took a 0 and I put it in for this and in for this, 0 times anything right here is just going to make this all go away. 0 times -16 is going to make all of this just go away. So what we're left with is a -30 because 0 times as those x's means it all just goes away. So we're going to be left with a -30 here. Sorry. Okay, and that's our last coordinate. That's our y-intercept. So we got 0, -30. And now let's graph all these points. So we go -4, +2. Here's our first point. -6, -6 is going to put me right here. -5, 0 will be right here. Negative 3, 0 will be right here, and then negative 2, negative 6 will be down here. And we can see our curve. Okay. We've got an axis of symmetry of x is equal to negative 4. So we go to negative 4, and we can see that there's a vertical line right there where it is symmetrical. And we can see that the vertex is right there at negative 4, 2. And that point in my picture, since it's at the top of my curve, we call this a maximum. Okay? Now let's go to Desmos and take a look at all this. We have y is equal to negative 2x squared minus 30. So you can see that there's our curve. We have x is equal to negative 4. There's our axis of symmetry. And we touch that point there at the top. We can see the vertex is at negative 4, positive 2. Okay? All right, let's move on now to the next one. We're going to go through this one a little bit quicker. Okay? And this is our last one of our notes here. Okay, so we're going to have a value is equal to positive 3. B value is negative 12. C value is positive 3. What I would do is, if I were you, I'd pause it right now, try to answer all the questions, try to get your graph, and then hit play so we can see if you actually have all the correct values, okay? All right, let's continue on now. Hopefully you paused and tried it. Let's continue. Going through the work, we have x is equal to negative b over 2a. That means that when we simplify, putting in our b value, we get the opposite of negative 12, which is positive 12. 2 times a, which is 2 times 3, which means that x is going to equal positive 2. That's our axis of symmetry. Vertex has the same x value. Put our x value in to the function, into these x's here. We're going to have 3 times 2 squared minus 12 times 2 plus 3. Throw that into your calculator. We get the vertexes at negative 2, positive 9. Move our vertex over here. I think I said negative 2, positive 9. It's 2, negative 9. Sorry. Go 2 to the left and 2 to the right. So that's going to be a 1 and a 0, and then a 3 and a 4. All right, we're going to put those values into our function. So we're going to have 3 times 4 squared minus 12 times 4 plus 3. Throw that in our calculator, we get a 3. And that means this is 3 up here. We're going to use a 3 now, so 3 times 3 squared minus 12 times 3 plus 3. Throw that into our calculator, we're going to get a negative 6. And that means that this is a negative 6. Our y-intercept we get from taking these, setting x equal to 0, which means this goes away. Take this, set x equal to 0, which means that goes away. So we're left with a 3 right there. So we're going to have 0, 3, which means the y-intercept is at 0, 3. And all that's left now is the graph. So let's take a look at our graph, okay? Negative 2, negative 9 is down here. That's our vertex. And then everything will go to the left and right from there. So 0, 3 is 1 point. 4, 3 is, I'm sorry, did I do the wrong coordinate there? Oh, I went to negative 2, negative 9. Sorry, it's positive 2, negative 9. So positive 2, negative 9 is our vertex. Okay. 0, 3 is our first point there, which we got. 1, negative 6 is right here. 3, negative 6 is right here. 4, 3 is right here. And there's our curve. We've got our axis of symmetry right here through it, which is x is equal to positive 2. We can see that the point down here is the bottom, so we call this a minimum. Okay, let's go to Desmos just to confirm everything we did. If we look at Desmos, I'm going to turn these other graphs off. There's our curve, 3x squared, minus 12x plus 3. There's our axis of symmetry. And the coordinate at the bottom that we said was our vertex is at 2, negative 9. All right, I think you guys all have this. It seems like all of you are kind of rocking this. So feel free to move on. Let's go ahead and do practice after this. You guys take care. And until the next time we see each other, oh, remember to like and subscribe to my YouTube page.